Hey YouTube, Freddy here. Next thing we're going to do on this Kimber after we have put the trigger and magazine catch in is we're going to put the disconnector and the Sear and this small part, which is called the trigger lever in a Swartz type of safety such as this Kimber has. We'll put this in first. These three parts is probably the biggest pain in the rear of the whole job. Again, don't force anything, take it nice and slow, take your time, and you really can't go wrong. Lots of ways to skin a cat, lots of ways to do this. Everybody has their own way. What I do is I drop this into the frame. This is going to protrude out of this hole here, this small hole. So the first step, how I do it, is I just try to drop this in with the intent of getting it to protrude out of that hole. Usually doesn't happen the first time. Usually takes a good amount of attempts to do it. It's kind of difficult to get this on camera, but I'm going to do my best for you. Okay, and we got it there. You can see it sticking out of the hole. Now, what we need to do next is get it situated correctly. Let's have a look to see how it's situated right now. Okay, that is the correct way. Kind of lucked out here. Try to get this so you can see it. Okay, very small part, very difficult to see. When you get it where it wants to go, I use my punch and I just make sure. With the punch in place, there's the part. Once that part is in place, it kind of wants to stay there. So since it sits in a slot on the right side of the frame, I'm going to let the frame lay down on its right. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to put in the disconnector and the Sear. And when they're oriented correctly, the pin is going to fit through that hole. Hopefully you can see that. So the easiest way I find to do this is to grab it with a pair of tweezers. You're going to grab it by the disconnector. And when you hold it that way, the Sear can only come off that way, so right now it's pretty much one unit. The disconnector is going to come up out of that hole, the large hole in the frame. So get it started so that it's coming out. This is easier to do when it's not on camera. But we'll get it in there. Okay, there's the disconnector. I'm going to hold it upside down here so that they're not going to want to fall out. Remove my tweezers. Now, what you want is for these to be positioned so that you can get the pin back in. The correct orientation of the disconnector on the trigger bar is resting towards the top of it, and visually centered, with the disconnector sitting right on top of it. Once these are oriented the way that they're supposed to be, get a peek through the hole in your frame, this hole here, to see. Now the pin goes in through this side, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my punch in through the other side and, not forcing anything, kind of put it around there, making sure that everything is still where it's supposed to be, and it is. And in this way, now that I have my punch coming out, I can take the pin and I can use the pin to sort of push the punch out. And now that part on the right, the disconnector and the sear, are resting on the trigger bow as they should be. And we're ready for the next step in the next video.